Hello, everybody, and welcome to week 5 of the Tourism Management English class. Today, we are going to be talking about explaining the bill, and we'll be using units 33 and 34 of the textbook this week. So again, nothing has changed. Online lectures are due to continue until week 6. So hopefully it's only this week and next week that we have online classes. And then please let us go back to school in week 7. That would be very nice. However, this could still change. But we don't know at the moment. Just let's hope that happens. So again, just to remind you, your class assignments will now count towards your final grades. And again, please check your file before you upload it to the e-learning website. Some students uploaded blank documents. Some students uploaded documents from the week before. So be careful when you're uploading. Just to remind you about the grading, I'm going to be replacing your homework score with your class assignments from weeks 3, 4, 5, and 6. So 2.5 points will be awarded for each assignment. Last week, it was a little bit mixed. Some of you were really good, answered everything with only a few small mistakes. Some were very good. There were some that were just okay. They didn't really follow the instructions I had given in the video lesson. So, yeah, none of them were terrible. So none of them scored 1 or 0.5. So they were all between 1.5 and 2.5 points. So overall, I was quite happy with those assignments. Again, this week, use the pause button when I'm telling you to stop to do the assignment. For the listening, it's always going to be useful to rewind and listen again. Your class materials today, you need your textbook. You'll need to download some documents from the e-learning site. We've got our handout and our PDF file. So the handout this week has got part 1, part 2, and part 3. So please download that. And the PDF file just has all of today's PowerPoint slides on it. So, to start with today, we are going to go through some of the answers from last week. Now, I think most of the answers last week were pretty good from what I've seen so far. But let's go over some of them anyway. So the first part we had was the listening, where we had to fill in the spaces. And some of this was quite difficult because they were speaking very quickly, and some of the information might have been not directly told. So let's hope that you listened and maybe rewound again and you listened again. But here were the answers. So it was all talking about methods of payment. Jane works for an airline. Most passengers pay by credit card, but she also accepts foreign currency. Pay by credit card is important to remember. We're using by here before that method of payment. So she also accepts foreign currency, but not coins. Very common on airplanes these days. And I even think some airplanes come round and collect the coins for charity at the end as well, which I think is quite a good idea. The second one was about Rod. Rod is a travel agent, and he said 60 to 70% of his customers pay by credit card. And he went on to say that was over the phone or in the shop. So either they call up to pay or they pay by visiting his travel agency. The third one, Janine, was also a travel agent, and she said her customers usually pay by credit card. This enables them to spread the cost of their holiday using credit facilities. So, spread the cost of your holiday. So, let's say you book a nice holiday and it costs $2,000. Well, that's a lot of money to pay in just one time. So by spreading the cost, that $2,000 could maybe be spread over 5 or 6 months. So you can pay a little bit each month. You don't pay the full $2,000 when you book the holiday. So that was the third one. The next one was about Tom, and he said Tom works in a sports store. Most of his customers pay cash for purchases under $50. They also use traveler's checks and receive their change in cash. So here they maybe give a $50 traveler's check, and when they receive their change, let's say the item is $40, they will just get $10 in cash back. He won't accept foreign currency, so he will only accept his currency, so in this case, dollars. The last one, Fiona, is a waitress. Her younger customers pay in cash, and the older ones pay by credit card. So those were the answers to part 1. The second one was about giving prices. So I've just given some examples of what I think. Now, everybody's answers are going to be a little bit different for this part. But as long as we kind of get the general price, we get close to the price. No, especially with a guest or a visitor to your country, they don't really want to know exactly how much something costs. So, a chocolate bar is 521. They just want to know a rough price. So again, I said a newspaper usually costs around 1,001. Could be a little bit more, but I think that. A bottle of beer costs between 2,000 and 5,001. We can get some cheaper beers. We get some more expensive. Now, this I gave as the price in a store. I think if you're buying a bottle of beer in a bar, it could be a lot more. A burger usually costs between 5 and 10,001. Again, it could be more in a nice restaurant in Itaewon, maybe. A bottle of champagne costs around 40,001. Now, the reason I wrote this is I was in Home Plus a few weeks ago and I saw a bottle of champagne that was 40,001. Again, it's the rough price. A meal in a restaurant. Well, this one was a difficult one because it can be so cheap and so expensive. So again, a meal in a restaurant can cost anywhere between 5 and 100,001. Gimbap Jungle, you can get a meal for 5,000 in a very nice restaurant in Seoul, maybe 100,000, maybe even more. Again, it's just giving a rough idea. An ice cream usually costs around 1,001. A hotel room will cost between 50 and 500,001 per night. It could also be more as well if you're getting a penthouse suite in one of the nicest hotels, maybe in Seoul. But I'm giving a kind of rough figure again. A cup of coffee usually costs around 4,000 won. A litre of petrol costs around 1,500 won. And again, this is something that I have to buy very often for my car. So the price changes with this, but I think usually it stays around this price. It could be a little bit more, could be less. So the important thing here, using the words around and between are very useful when giving your prices. Okay, the currency thing, now this obviously can change every day. So the exchange rate, as long as you're kind of close here, I'm going to be fine with that. The big thing, I think, is the country. So baht comes from Thailand. Dollars, well, many countries. You can have Hong Kong dollars, Canadian dollars, US dollars, Australian dollars. Many, I chose Canada in this case. Forints come from Hungary. Francs come from Switzerland. They also used to be the money in France and Belgium before they changed to the euro. Pesos, this is another one. Many countries use pesos. A lot of countries in South America. The Philippines also uses this. Here I chose Mexico because it was in the textbook. Rands from South Africa. Ringgits from Malaysia. Rubles were from Russia. Rupees from India. And yen from Japan. And when we were writing our exchange rates, well, 1 baht equals 37.321. $1 equals 871 won. So hopefully you've written this down like that. The currency thing is something that's quite important when tourists come to your country, especially in Korea, because the won, the numbers are so big. So, $1 equals 871 won. If they're wanting to ask about what $50 is, you're going to have to be able to try and do that quite quickly. So it can be difficult sometimes with Korean won because the numbers get so big so quickly. So if somebody's asking, well, how much is $300? And you're thinking about it, well, it's about 300,000 won, or it's about 270,000 won. The numbers become big quickly, so it's probably good to practice that. All right, so that was last week. Today's lesson, we are going to be talking about the part that guests don't really like, paying the bill. And quite often guests are going to have lots of questions about the bill. So we're going to be listening to a staff member explain the prices on a bill. You're then going to try and explain some of the costs on a bill as well. We're then going to talk about service charges or tips in different countries. So some countries have a very strong tipping culture. Other countries, there's no tipping at all. We'll look at a few differences. And then at the end today, you'll be giving your opinion about service charges by answering a question on this. So, the first thing we're going to be doing today is we're going to look at a hotel bill and we're going to try and talk about the different things on this bill. So this is quite a common looking bill we've got here. We've got the dates here, there's a reference number, and then there's a description of what the cost was, and then the amount. Down at the bottom, we have the balance due. So that's how much money you're going to ask the guest for. And then down at the bottom again, you've got a summary of all of the charges. So what we're going to do first of all here is just listen. So we're going to listen to a staff member and a guest talking about their bill, And we can look on the screen while we're doing this because the charges are talking about the things on here. So let us listen.
Lesson 33. Explaining the bill. A. Listen to a guest checking out of a hotel.
Can I have my bill, please?
Yes, certainly, Mr. Cook. Here you are. The individual charges are itemized and the receipts are here.
Okay. Oh, can you just explain what the extras are?
Yes, certainly. Palm Beach is the name of the main bar, and you had drinks at the bar on the 5th and again on the 6th. Let's see, all the receipts are here. Yeah, here's the check you signed on the 5th, and here's the one from the 6th.
Okay. What about sports?
Did you play tennis on the 5th?
Yes, that's right.
Well, that charge is for the hire of the court and tennis equipment.
I see. What is Bermuda Plan?
Oh, that's your room charge. It's the charge for your room and for full American breakfast. R101 means room 101.
Right. And what about poolside?
Did you have a drink at the snack bar beside the swimming pool?
Oh, yes, I must have done. And then there's telex and fax. I did send a fax. And room service, I understand that. And Palm Beach again. And then what's this?
Oh, that's Coffee House. Did you have lunch in the Coffee House on the 6th?
That's right, I did. Okay, what's this next one?
Water sports. That's either renting a windsurfer or a sailboat.
Oh, yes, I rented a sailboat. I thought it was free, though.
No, I'm afraid not. According to the receipt here, you had it out for 2 hours.
Yes, I did. Okay, the rest are the same again, except for this one, miscellaneous. What do you think that is?
Oh, I have no idea, I'm afraid. I'll just check that receipt for that. Yes, here it is. It's for a guidebook which you bought from the front desk.
Oh, yes, I remember. Right, good. Here's my Visa card.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cook. Could you just sign here on the dotted line?
Certainly, yes. There you are.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cook. I do hope you enjoyed your stay with us.
I did, yes. Thank you.
And we hope to see you again before too long.
I hope so too. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Mr. Cook. Have a good journey.
Okay, so the cashier was explaining the different charges to the guest there. Now, I think what we'll do, I've just played it all the way through. I think what might be useful is to play it in sections and then look at the bill and fill in which parts and what are the charges for. So let's play again. Now we already know Palm Beach is drinks at the bar, so we've got Palm Beach here, Palm Beach here, and Palm Beach here. We already knew that sports were the tennis court hire, so we'll look at some of the other charges and fill them in together.
Lesson 30.
Bill, please.
Yes, certainly, Mr. Cook. Here you are. The individual charges are itemized and the receipts are here.
Okay. Oh, can you just explain what the extras are?
Yes, certainly. Palm Beach is the name of the main bar, and you had drinks at the bar on the 5th and again on the 6th. Let's see, all the receipts are here. Yeah, here's the check you signed on the 5th, and here's the one from the 6th.
Okay. What about sports?
Did you play tennis on the 5th?
Yes, that's right.
Well, that charge is for the hire of the court and tennis equipment.
I see. What is Bermuda Plan?
Oh, that's your room charge. It's the charge for your room and for full American breakfast. R101 means room 101.
Right.
Okay, so Bermuda Plan here, room 101. So this is his hotel room, and down here again, hotel room, down here, hotel room. And there's the price, $180. It doesn't show the amount. Let's just say dollars, $180 per night. So Bermuda Plan is the hotel room.
And what about poolside?
Did you have a drink at the snack bar beside the swimming pool?
Oh, yes, I must have done. And then there's telex and fax. I did send a...
Okay, so poolside, he had a drink beside the pool. So we've got one here, drinks, and poolside again, drinks here again. Let's go to our next one.
A drink at the snack bar beside the swimming pool?
Oh yes, I must have done. And then there's telex and fax. I did send a fax. And room service.
Okay, so he did send a fax. So telex and fax, we can write fax beside this.
I understand that. And Palm Beach again. And then what's this?
Oh, that's coffee house. Did you have lunch in the coffee house on the 6th?
That's right, I did.
Okay, so we've got coffee, so coffee house, and he had lunch there on the 6th of January. There we go.
Okay, what's this next one?
Water sports. That's either renting a windsurfer or a sailboat.
Oh yes, I rented a sailboat. I thought it was free though.
No, I'm afraid not.
Okay, so water sports here. Well, he rented a sailboat here, and a little bit of a problem. He thought it was free, but it was actually $15 for the 2 hours.
According to the receipt here, you had it out for 2 hours.
Yes, I did. Okay, the rest are the same again, except for this one, miscellaneous. What do you think that is?
Oh, I have no idea, I'm afraid. I'll just check that receipt for that. Yes, here it is. It's for a guidebook which you bought from the front desk.
Oh yes, I remember. Right, good.
Okay, and then we had miscellaneous. Now, miscellaneous is something that's used quite often when we don't have a category for something. So it's a very kind of general thing. For example, it's very easy. Poolside, well, that is the bar. Coffee house, in the coffee house. But miscellaneous is maybe the other items that have maybe no place. So in this case, it was the guidebook that he bought was the miscellaneous item.
Here's my Visa card.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cook. Could you just sign here on the dotted line?
Certainly, yes.
All right, so that kind of gives us an idea of how to look at a bill and some of the language used to talk about the charges on that bill. So just a small part from that conversation. Okay, what about sports? And the cashier said, did you play tennis on the 5th? I guessed, yes, that's right. Well, that charge is for the hire of the court and the tennis equipment. So this is a kind of good short example of the types of questions that a guest might ask about the bill and a good way to answer those questions. And obviously this entire conversation here gave lots of examples of ways to do that. So what we're going to do next is you are going to look at another bill. This time the bill is from the Central Hotel. So we've got the bill, we've got the dates down here again, we've got the reference, we have the description here, and we have the amounts. So in your worksheet, you have got 5 spaces here, and you've got 5 questions. So this part here, you need to use your imagination a little bit. Think of a way to explain that bill, just like the woman did in the conversation on the slide before, like this. Well, that's the charge for the hire of the court and tennis equipment. So the questions, could you tell me about the TV and video charge? Well, so where's TV and video? Okay, find the charge, TV and video $10. Well, what do you think it is? You have to explain that to the guest. What's the cocktail bar charge? I don't remember buying anything from the coffee shop, so what was that charge for? Can you explain the toiletries charge? So what's the total cost? So Those are the 5 questions. Look at the bill. Also use your imagination a little bit. Here's an example I've given. Let's say the guest was asking, what's this minibar charge? Well, my answer as a cashier might be, let me see. Yes, you had a bottle of water and a can of Heineken from the minibar. So there we go. So that's the kind of answer that you should be giving. So read the questions and write your answers in your assignment worksheet. Okay, so we've kind of talked a little bit about explaining the bill, and something that comes into the bill quite a lot. Now we'll notice it down here. Service charge at 12.5%. Okay, so we've got our subtotal here, $764.49. 12.5% service charge is $95.56. 2.5% local taxes is $19.11. So we get our final price. And service charges can be very, very confusing. Every time I travel, I really don't know sometimes which countries accept tipping, which countries include a service charge. So it can be quite a confusing thing. So in some countries, leaving a tip in a restaurant, hotel, or even with a taxi driver is common. In other countries, a service charge is included in your bill, and some countries have no tipping culture at all. So I'll give an example of this. In the USA, it's normal to leave a tip of between 15 and 20% of your total bill. So let's say your bill in a restaurant is $100. It would be normal to pay around $115 to $120. Even if the service is bad, Americans will leave a tip. It seems to be something that is very, very common. In the UK, that's a little bit different. If people get bad service, they probably wouldn't leave a tip. If they get good service, they would pay 15 to 20%. So this whole thing can be a little bit confusing. So I'm going to show you a short video, and I want you to watch the video and answer some questions about tipping culture around the world. So after watching the video, you've got 5 questions to answer. So question 1 is a service charge usually included in Germany? Question 2, how much is the service charge in France? Question 3, where do you not tip in England? Where? Question 4, what is the normal tipping rate? Rate just means the amount in Canada. And number 5, do people usually tip in China? So I've got some space in your assignment worksheet. You've got your 5 questions here. So let's watch the video and answer these questions.
Before you enjoy a meal at a restaurant outside the United States, you should probably take some time to find out how much tip, if any, customers usually add to the bill. In many countries, the service charge is already included. In some places, they will not accept a tip, even if you insist. For example, in Germany, 15% is usually included in your bill, but a lot of customers leave an extra 5%. In Japan, no tipping. In England, 10 to 15% is usually included, and I'll never tip in a pub. In Brazil, 10% is included. In Spain, 5 to 10% is usually included, but feel free to leave an extra 5%. In France, 15% is included. In Canada, tipping 15 to 20% is the norm. In Holland, only 5% is included, so you should leave an extra 10%. In China, no tipping. In Italy, 15% is already included in your bill. So now we know how tipping varies between countries.
Okay, so again, if you're having difficulty, just rewind the video. You can watch it again, and hopefully we can get the answers to all 5 of the questions. So that's going to bring us on to the last part today. And in the last part, I want your opinion. So I think, again, with service charges and tipping, it's very much a cultural thing. An example from me is when I'm in the UK, I always tip my taxi drivers. 10%, sometimes 15% of the taxi cost. So when I first came to Korea, I tried to tip taxi drivers, but they would always, even on some occasions, they would get out of their car and give me the tip back. And I would try to say to them, no, I want you to have it, but they would refuse the tip. So I think in Korea, there's not a strong tipping culture. However, it's something I've noticed is happening a little bit more. I see this in places like Songdo in Incheon. I see it in Itaewon in Seoul, where the idea of tipping is becoming a little bit more common. So I want to know your opinion on this thing. So I've made a question here. You've got 2 choices in the question. So I've said here, do you think it's better to have a service charge included in the price? So like a straight 10%, that's it, you pay an extra 10. Or for a customer to decide how much of a tip to give. So like they kind of do in some countries, it's up to you. There's no service charge. You decide to give 5% or 20% or whatever. So that's the question I want you to answer. You've got a choice. Do you think it's better to have a service charge included in the price, or for a customer to decide how much of a tip to give? You should try to give reasons and some examples to support your answer. And you should write your answer in the assignment worksheet here. So I've left some space. You probably want to write about 50 words so that you can give your opinion and then explain that opinion and maybe give an example of that as well. So everybody, I think you should pause the video just now and answer this question. Okay. So, just a quick review of the things we did today. We were talking about explaining the bill at first. So, we listened and we got some useful expressions when we heard the cashier explain the bill to a guest. Then you had to explain some of the charges on the other bill. We looked at the service charges in different countries, and hopefully we noticed that it's very, very different around the world. And then finally, we finished off with you giving your opinion about these service charges. So that's today's lesson. Everyone, please remember to upload your assignment files to the e-learning website. Please check your file, just take 1 minute, make sure it's the correct assignment, make sure everything is completed. Next week, we're going to be looking at units 36 and 37. and it's about local knowledge. So quite often when guests come, they want to know about the local area, maybe about the history, they want to know about transport, they want to know about sights to see. So we'll be listening to some common problems people have when they travel. We'll be giving information about our city, and we'll also look at how to deal with requests. So that is going to be in next week's class. Now, please remember, if you've got any questions about this week's class, you can send them on the group Kakao Talk, or you can send me a message privately or send an email, and I can help you with any questions you have. So thanks everybody for listening today, and let's hope next week is our final video lesson. All right, everyone, I will see you next week. Bye-bye.